Good evening, everyone. I'm at the moment out in Laoghaire, and to be honest, I feel very unsafe. I'm here to make a video, which I don't really want to do, but it has to be done, about the last remaining abusive children's home, which is actually still open and which is allowed to be open. It was reopened by Francis Fitzgerald and the even more unpalatable Mary Mitchell O'Connor, who is our version of Kerry Katona. So along here now is the last of the abusive children's homes. They go by the Cottage Home, Child and Family Services, and it's this building here, and it's on Mulgrave Street in Laoghaire, a far cry from what they used to look like. Apparently they have somewhere else in Stillorgan now as well, but they're seriously smaller than they were when I was there. Not sure how many children are actually in it or looked after or not, as the case may be. But I was put in it from the age of 8, and at the top of this road you'll see what was the cottage home. It's a big Colditz Castle looking building. Dates from at least the 18th century, if not before, and it's now being turned into apartments and townhouses, and from what I've seen looks like the inside of the Palace of Versailles, like a miniature Versailles, which with what went on there is absolutely sick. Everyone in Laoghaire knows about this place. Everyone in Laoghaire knows what happened and knows the amount of children who were abused here, which ranged from being raped, beaten, burned, starved. Your education was taken from you, although obviously not from me, because I basically taught myself when I saw what they were doing. So I'm not an actual smart arse, although sometimes I can be. There was quite a number of people in this home when I was there. They also had a nursery, so there was babies in it. And widespread abuse took place. And it's still open, and everyone knows, and there's no one doing a thing about it. There was a guard attached to the place, so everything was covered up, which is why I'm making this video and I'm going to expose it. There was a number of state-run homes, of which the cottage home was one, and most of them were actually very close to each other. You had Madonna House in Stillorgan. This place is on Tivoli Road in Laoghaire, and if you go down at the end of the road, you had Racefield, where abuse also happened and where it's also covered up. In fact, the manager from Racefield, Colm Healy, ended up as the manager in Cottage Home. In Monkstown you had Glen Silver, and then you had another one in Blackrock, and these homes are basically not known about because you have the likes of Colm O'Gorman and Christine Buckley, who got all the airtime, and some of the religious abused, whereas these homes are not known about. And the abuse that happened there isn't known about either. I was in it from the age of 8 to 16. There was also a smaller house for the older children where abuse also took place. And I'm seriously not going to stop until this place is closed. There was a large amount of families in it. And in fact, one of them lived here on the corner, the McCormicks. There were 6 brothers. 2 of them weren't in care. The others, one was in Racefield and the others were in the cottage home. 2 of them are now drug addicts. One of the other ones hung on themselves. And the other works for Vodafone. And that was their house. So this is it here. This is what was the cottage home for little children, which they now seem to call Royal Terrace North, which has been totally done up since I was in it. But it's a protected building, so it can't be knocked down, unfortunately. I was raped and beaten and burned and starved and neglected in this place. No Christmas, no Halloween, no birthdays, no nothing. And in fact, as a 10-year-old, I was almost abducted. And I was to be strangled in the field which is behind the building. This window here at the end and the window opposite was where one night they were having a staff party. And there was a conservatory at the side of this building. Conservatory was there, and someone allegedly broke in, but the glass was actually broken from the inside out, not the outside in, and there were at least 40 people going back and forth between these 2 rooms. And I was in a room at the very opposite end of the building, which is totally blocked off now. It's right at the end, right at the very far windows. You had the girls' bedroom and the boys' bedroom was above. So I'm to believe that someone broke in here, and I was 10 at the time, broke in through there. These last windows there was at least 40 to 50 people having a Christmas party. Wasn't seen by them. Went to the entire end of the building, and basically, with no knowledge of the building as well, went eeny, meeny, miny, moe, there's the girls' bedroom. Let's abuse and beat 3 girls. One who was 6 at the time, I was 10. And the other was 12. And the 12-year-old was actually badly retarded, so she wasn't actually basically aware of what was happening. And then I was brought down to the back door, and if the boys hadn't been moving upstairs, this field is where I would have ended up pretty much like Sarah Payne or Millie Dowler. So it's a bit hard to believe now that someone could just break in with